Hello, welcome to Monday Muse, a short God thought and a song to kick off the week. Last week I set off on a school run and I drove down the road here, got to the end of the road and I found myself caught between two different realities. When I looked to the left, it was pouring down with rain, and when I looked to the right, it was beautiful and sunny. And I realised I was kind of caught in the middle of two conditions. And as I carried on the journey then, I drove in towards the town. I looked, and in the sky, traversing one side to the other, above Aberystwyth was this beautiful rainbow. And whenever I see a rainbow, I can't help myself but think about Genesis 9, where we hear about the first rainbow that ever happened. Basically, following the flood, God makes a promise to Noah and he says, I've set my rainbow in the clouds and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. In that moment, I thank God for his promises and I claimed them over our town. About halfway to school then, I remember something about rainbows that I'd seen so vividly at the start of the journey and I'd experienced for myself. See, rainbows happen where the dark skies and the bright skies meet. Between the place of rainy, cloudy darkness and the place of glorious, blue-skied sunshine. Maybe you feel like you're in that kind of confusing place in between, or maybe you can't see the sun for the clouds right now. Well, the good news is that beyond whatever clouds you're experiencing, the sun is still shining, and those clouds are not evidence of the lack of God's presence or his blessing. They're actually necessary for us to be able to see the promise of God. You can't experience the beauty of the rainbow without both the light and the shade of the journey through life. And something really beautiful and amazing happens when the sun shines through the rain. And you may think of that picture as the sunshine representing the goodness of God. And actually, somehow, the challenge and the trial and the difficulty that we go through makes the sunshine and the goodness of God even brighter when it shines through that situation. And that's what we can see when the rainbow is created as the sun shines through the clouds. So that in-between place is exactly where the promise of God needs to be held on to. If you're in a great season where the sun is shining, thank God, but be aware that there may come a time when the clouds gather again. If you're in a difficult, challenging, confusing season, then be aware that the next break in the clouds, even though it could be somewhere down the road, you are getting closer to that break in the cloud, and it's a time to trust in God's promises. Amazingly, over this weekend, after what I saw towards the end of last week, I've seen two more beautiful rainbows covering the skies of Aberystwyth. I wanted to let you see a couple of those in the pictures here. And those beautiful rainbows, I think, for me, were an opportunity to remember the promises of God, and maybe for you as well. Maybe that as we journey through this confusing and painful time, God wants us to be reminded of his promises and of his great faithfulness. I'm going to have a go at singing a song by Maverick called Promises, and it talks about the faithfulness of God, and I hope that that will be your experience and that it will encourage you in his faithfulness as we sing this. God of Abraham, God of covenant and faithful promises, time and time again you have proven you do just what you said. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word it will come to pass.
Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me.
Oh, yes, Lord. God from age to age, though the The earth may pass away, your word remains the same. Your history can prove there's nothing you can't do. You're faithful and true. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. Oh, he'll never let me down. Yes, no, he'll never let me down. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass.
Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me.
From the rising sun to the setting sun, I will praise your name.